Hello everybody, here's Tomas and Matteis for Video. We're here with Paul from Hedge for Mac, right? And we were just talking about a second ago. I want you to tell our audience about your tool because I think it addresses a part of the process of video production, especially for at least for small teams. I'm sure like big teams have this problem too, which is the ingest, right? So tell us a little bit about what does your tool do?
Essentially, Hedge for Mac is one big copying machine for Mac, optimized for media files. So we found out that copying media on a Finder, it doesn't do verification, but it also isn't really good in doing large files into multiple destinations because you want to have 2-3 backups at least. So we rebuilt the OS X copy engine and really fine-tuned it for multiple transfers, multiple destinations, multiple sources. And essentially that's it. And we rebuilt it that good that it's about 4 times as fast as other apps.
That's one of the parts about your tool. You were just showing me the graph of the different benchmarks of speed of copying, because we are not IT people, videographers, and we're like, oh, I'm copying, right? Copying a file. How yes, if my card reader is faster, if it's a Thunderbolt or is directly into the SD card of my MacBook Pro, that is going to be faster or slower, but that's about it. Now, you show me that even if I'm using the same SD card reader in my MacBook Pro, the speed at which the footage is going to copy from the card into my hard drive or into my external hard drive and backups, it can be really, really improved and optimized if I'm using the right tools. Yeah. Because you guys went in and it's like, oh, Finder is not really optimizing for big files. Let's build this again from the ground up, where we have also one of the features that you told me about, it was the verification on the fly. Tell me about that.
Well, generally the process you do is you do a copy, and let's say a copy takes a minute, then you need to verify the data later on. It takes 2, 3, 4 more minutes, depending on the algorithm. So what we first did is use a newer algorithm, Hedge, that isn't limited by the hardware. It has no ceiling, there's no bottleneck. And what we then did is, well, essentially we multiplexed the process, so you can do multiple transfers, but you only have to read the process once. And that really makes full use of the bandwidth of that SD card. And of course, if you have a slow SD card, it's going to be slow, but it's only going to be slow once for the read process, and it's not limited to having 3 or 4 or 5 destinations. You only need to read once. We verify that read, and then we copy it onto all destinations simultaneously. And that can save up to like 68% if you have a lot of sources or a lot of destinations. So that's 40 minutes an hour, easily.
That is wonderful, because as videographers, we are creating content, we are shooting that content, and when we are in like shooting mode, production mode, that's we are on the field with our cameras, with our gear, filling out those SD cards. And the last thing we want to do when we get to the end of the day is to sit down in the front of the computer, think, where am I going to put these files? Now I have to wait 18 minutes. It's a very painful process. Tell me about how this idea came about, because it feels like it came out of that pain and frustration of that, what am I doing?
Well, we're a team of audio engineers, and originally I was asked as an audio consultant for a Dutch documentary to build a new microphone technique with DPAs, and it was pretty cool. And then they asked me, can you do something about our workflow? They were a 15 5D camera show, like a documentary, and they had to do an overnight import, backup, transcode, audio sync into Avid. And it was massive amounts of data, like 60 TB a day from 5D. So that's not big codecs, it's just H.264. And I started writing some scripts together with a partner, and we just hacked stuff together, and hey, it worked, and there was demand for it. And so we were thinking, can we build a to Z workflow tool maybe? And then that turned out to be horrible if you want to do that. It will fit just one guy's workflow. So we decided to split the processes, and Hedge is essentially the first step in what we did. And my biggest reason for building this was that I was just flooded with data that day, and we're just, oh man, I can't handle this, and I got to do this 3 weeks in a row. Oops. How am I going to fix this?
This is fantastic, because this is the story of every good company that is being built as a startup right now. Is like people with deep market insights are taking the pain of what is there, and it's like this has to be a better way to do this. Let me find it. Let me make it. Let me create that tool that is going to help me, fix this problem that's just so painful. And at the same time, let me offer this solution for everybody else that is in the same situation that can really use this solution. That's what you did.
Yeah.
So
there's a luxury, like I was the dedicated DIT on set, so I had time to do it. It was my job. But then we learned that most of the time it's a second AC that has to do it. And he has a lot more things to do than just data handling. So what we wanted to do is free up everybody's hands to do more creative stuff. And let's be honest, making backups is really boring stuff. It's really error prone. So
absolutely.
So we just want to make life easier for everyone. So one thing that we're doing right now is next quarter we're going to launch Hedge for iOS. That's going to send you push notifications when transfers are either successful or not. So you don't have to be at the laptop at all or at your DIT station. Just let it run, let it rip. And we hope one of the things that could be a good practice later on is that people don't fill up their carts and then start ingesting and then get congestion later on the day, and you don't get to have dinner together with the rest of the crew, or you got to do overtime. Nice for the producer. So what we want to do is make sure you offload your carts earlier in the process, because the carts essentially are a lot cheaper than overtime. And a lot less.
Absolutely, and many times like you always want to get full car on your while you're recording, but at the same time, just the process of downloading the car, even if it's full or if it's like just 10% full, the process takes forever, and it's not just about how much it takes to transfer 10 gigabytes to your card or 2 terabytes. It's about just sitting down, putting the card, naming the file, naming the folder. So if you why not make that easier? So tell me a little bit more about this. Tell me a little bit more about the vision for where Hedge is going.
Well, right now Hedge is just a Xerox for media, and what we want to do is take that mental pain you're experiencing from I've got this kind of footage, I should do this, or that kind of footage. You're mixing up camera types, we see that a lot. We want to make that a lot easier. So the next iteration of Hedge we think next year, is going to have some kind of recipes. Like you're going to say, well, my production has an FS7 or an A7 B cam and a slew of GoPros. All different workflows, all different file types. And I want those to be, well, sorted or renamed, or I want to detect duplicate file names because, well, everything can wreak havoc. So we're going to do something like manufacturer-created recipes that you can alter, share with the community later on, share your workflow, reuse it on the next project, making life easy.
This is wonderful. This is a tool that many different sides of productions can really use. Even if it's that you have a second AC who's doing this, the second AC might better be cleaning lenses and making sure all the gear is running right than just ingesting footage and just like really having his focus on like, oh wait, where's this file? Do I have it? Yes. Do I not? A computer can easily do that. Why is it not doing it yet? Thank you very much for building this tool. This is amazing, and this is going to change, the workflow of like all creators, all video creators in the platform. So thank you very much. Tell us a little bit about where you guys have it right now. What is the price point for this tool, and what are the next iterations that you guys coming out with very soon?
At the moment, Hedge is available on our website. There's a free version that's limited in speed, and there's a paid version for €99 or USD. And that has full speed, NAS support, RAID, network stuff, log files, and brand new MHL support. So you can track your footage during the post-production process. Next up for Hedge, next update will have some kind of added security for harsh environments, like card readers don't take heat very well. You'll get a lot of verification errors, possibly because of that heat. We found a way of doing stuff like that better, catching errors earlier in the process, repairing them. That's going to be an update. And later on, which is going to be a biggie for a lot of people think, is a more advanced folder management. So not the recipes thing, but an intermediate that will make life a lot easier, because that's the one department Hedge is pretty dumb right now.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we want to see, to be able to like transfer our file structure for our projects into the algorithm and into the platform, so it automatically puts it where it should be, and we can find it. I'm big on this. Whenever I tell people how to store their files in their computer so they can edit, it's like put the files where they should be. So when you're thinking again, where's this file? What it should be? So you are going to find it. And if I can tell Hedge, hey, here's what I want my files, and he's gonna put it there, then the files are automatically going to be where they should be every time, and that's going to be huge.
Without errors. Without errors.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. This has been great. I hope you guys can see the value of what this technology and how this is going to improve our workflow. And stay tuned for the latest video updates. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you. Glad to be here.